Time to return to the world of Wes Anderson.
Those were up, and they did.
More smarts, and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for a new wide release, and, or a new release, because this was not really a wide release per se, it's more of a limited release, and, it's a comedy film from Wes Anderson, who is a very talented director. And his newest film that just came out last week is going to be the review for 2023's Asteroid City, directed by Wes Anderson. Yeah, I already know that. So anyway, what's the plot of this? Well, following a writer on his world-famous fictional play about a grieving father who travels to his tech-obsessed family to small rural Asteroid City to complete a junior stargazing event, only to have his worldview disrupted forever. So yeah, how was this made? Well, in September 2020, it was reported Wes Anderson would be writing and directing a romance film, which he would produce alongside Jeremy Dawson of American Imperial Pictures and Stephen Rails of Indian Paintbrush. By February 2021, Michael Cera and Jeff Goldblum entered negotiations to star in the director's next film, which was now described as being about this group of brainy teachers, and Tilda Swinton was the first person to officially join the cast, doing so in June 2021. In May 2023, Anderson talked about how the pandemic inspired the film and its story, saying that he didn't think there would be a quarantine in the story as if they weren't experiencing it, but it wasn't deliberate. And rain was the most improvisational part of the whole process and relied on having nothing, according to him. And so, principal photography, which was originally set for Rome, ended up taking place in Spain between August and October 2021, with a bunch of safety precautions in place. Several sets were built in Shinkron, including a vast diorama resembling a desert landscape with the eponymous town of Asteroid City, including its train station, a diner, garage, and observatory. And cast member Fisher Stevens said the film would even include the wildest cast since the bridge on the River Kwai, and that the cast and crew were all bubbled together in a hotel, which was this old monastery. And the film's title was even revealed by, originally at the time, star Bill Murray, to be Asteroid City at the London Film Festival in October 2021. Alexander Desplat even composed the film score in a sixth collaboration with Anderson. And costume design was by multiple Academy Award winner Melanie Conorano. Then in July 2022, it was even announced that Focus Features would distribute the film, reuniting them with Wes Anderson after 2012's Moonrise Kingdom 11 years ago. However, it turns out Bill Murray could not be in the film because he had contracted COVID before they could even shoot his scenes, so his role in the movie ended up being cancelled. But after this film was shot and advertised, Asteroid City had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival on May 23rd, 2023, and where it competed for the Palme d'Or. And it began a limited theatrical release via Focus Features in the United States on June 16th, 2023, before expanding to a wide release a week later. And, so far, the movie has received very positive reviews from critics. Now, as for my reaction to this movie, well, let me just say, I've only seen two of Wes Anderson's films. And those are his two animated features, Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs. And I did enjoy both of those movies, and I think they're some of the best animated features of today, and easily my second and third favorite stop-motion films. And since, well, I made it clear that I refuse to watch Flash and double refuse to watch No Hard Feelings, I decided to check this out and now finally see one of Wes Anderson's live action works for the first time. And I honestly thought this was a good film, and it's probably one of my favorite movies of this summer. And I just left the theater, and like, sure enough, like, I'm not quite sure what I've seen or that I've understood, but there's just so much happening at such an odd pacing that it's tough not to be wide-eyed at the spectacle of the screen. I just found it very comfortable as a viewing experience. It's gorgeously shot, extremely fast-paced, and while I wouldn't say the characters were amazingly well realized, I still really enjoyed their interactions. It's got a lot of the subtly wholesome and touching moments like its best work has, and while the story was a bit more abstract than I expected it to be, I was still considerably interested in it, and I would be interested in see what new details I could pick up within a second viewing once I do able to give this a second viewing. Wes Anderson really drummed up a magnificent cast, and at least 10 of them could carry a AAA movie by themselves. Like, well, yeah, Wes knows a good movie needs a good plot as well. The visuals are outstanding, and almost every shot is also an award-winning photo. The acting is very superb here, and the setting is magnificent. Almost everything about this movie is perfect. In fact, hey, now that I think about it, the movie even sometimes does feel a bit like an anthology too, because, well, throughout the movie, either cuts from a city to a actual play stage at times, and Bryan Cranston's character giving a bit of narration about Jason Schwartzman's play that he's coming up with, so in a way, it's somewhat like an anthology film, because it often cuts to either the city, and then it cuts to the play. So I thought that was kind of creative right there. And when a movie is considered a assembled piece, the pressure of a film's success falls on the shoulders of the director. In a normal narrative, the protagonist and antagonist often take the burden of film success on themselves, hoping the audience will empathize with their lead characters and their character arc, and to be immersed in the story during the full running time. But there's a risk, however, the audience doesn't connect with performances on the status of a leading man or woman in jeopardy. The producers in the future not wanting to greenlight another film with actors like they were unable to handle the weight of the film. And that's why plenty of actors like to work on movies which offer an ensemble feel. They don't have to spend many months on film set. Instead, they come for a few days, shoot their scenes, and can move on to the next project. Their performance didn't work, they are always supported by other quality actors, so it doesn't ruin the whole film. Like in either way, Wes Anderson's style always comes out on top. His actors who work with him really understand the particular speed of lines delivery and the dryness of the dialogue. And it's very much what any Wes Anderson fan would probably expect from a lot of his works. The cinematography was often more interesting than usual, with a strong emphasis on reduction and caution design. The camera movement kind of feels a bit more free than usual, and yet the composition is always even full of symmetry. Which is even the calling card of Wes. He even in this movie includes a few inserts, such as a close-up of objects, and which normally make things appear more cinematic, which is like for his filmmaking style, which is rather unusual, and a few Dutch angles, which make the audience feel a sense of distorted reality in moments of surrealism. And when it comes to the two actors I liked in this the most, I feel like of the all the actors in this movie, this has a whole huge cast of actors. Like, there's Jason Schwartzman, there's Scarlett Johansson, Steve Carell, Tom Hanks, and just a lot. Bryan Cranston, Lee Schreiber, loads of big names in this whole film. Probably the most big names I've seen in any Wes Anderson movie yet. And honestly, I think the ones that stood out the most, I think Jason Schwartzman and Scarlett Johansson were excellently paired with this awkwardly strong chemistry to match Anderson's often deadpan tone. And Steve Carell and Tom Hanks are even given the best comedic roles and deliver the funniest lines of the film. Or some of the funniest moments of the film too. Anderson's ability to showcase childhood love is woven more subtly into the plot with a stand-up performance by Jake Ryan, who plays Woodrow, Schwartzman's character's son. And the science experiment fair type thing was a fun plot device and not familiar for the sci-fi genre. And the child acting in this movie is actually decently strong for the child actors who do make an appearance in here. And regarding the cinematography of the film, Robert D. Yeoman uses colors very well, especially in this one. He utilized both vivid and black and white colors just for aiding us in distinguishing easily to which main story passed throughout the picture, and in a few particular scenes besides with profuse dialogue. He fits two shots going on at the same time in one single screen, and giving us the impression of no matter how far the characters stand, they talk as if they have really close distance between them. And the casting was tremendous too, and there was plenty of numerous familiar faces, and a couple of them even had major roles and more roles than the others. And according to the successful performances, I could literally tell just all the leading actors and actresses really embraced this project and enjoyed being in it. especially the minor roles such as Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, Margaret Robbie, etc. and stuff. An asteroid city really symbolizes the mind during the grieving process. The crater's this hole and emptiness in your whole life, and when you lose somebody that's really close to you, injury starts with a shock event, and the meteor impact, which stands for the sudden death of a loved one. In this movie, there's this stop motion alien that appears and takes this asteroid on display in the city in the scene, which is the actual cause of the hole, the cause of the grief. The asteroid is death. The alien returns after grieving is done, and the asteroid has been indexed after the alien returns it. So you kind of gave the loss a place in your life, but the hole will always remain. It's kind of like that, really. But I really like the design of the alien, too. It's this little black stick-like figure like you saw in the thumbnail. And its movements are spectacular. Schwartzman his character actually does try to get a picture of it in one moment, and it's not angry at the whole picture. It seems the alien's ironically just chill about it and literally just poses with the meteor, holding the meteorite. So I really love that moment right there. And like the two Anderson films I have seen, the characters are the real highlight. They're just so entertaining. The witty dialogue, the distinct personalities, the striking costumes, they all contribute to create a brilliant collection of characters that are just fun to spend a couple of hours with. And of course, these characters wouldn't be anything without the talented cast that brings them to life, and Wes assembles maybe his best ensemble yet in Asteroid City. Schwartzman and Johansson, like I've already said, steal the show for me, but there isn't a single dud in the bunch of other actors too. Just about all the characters are interesting to watch. Like, some of them are even this whole class and their teacher that are also with all the visitors of Asteroid City and stuff, and they often say a prayer every time. Occasionally they'll say a prayer as well. And I really like the design of the town too, where it's this whole little desert area with usually just a diner and a few rent homes. Well, love the design of the alien. Love all the cutaways featuring the play. But yeah, visually the film's just a treat from start to finish. Like, I could literally go on about the colors, the costumes, the framing, the camera work, but to put it shortly, like, Wes Anderson knows how to make a visually arresting film, and Asteroid City truly showcases this all right here. So yeah. But I would have to agree with some nitpicks here. Like, for starters, the pacing, I feel like they may kind of off at times, which can be kind of an issue for some people. And I think we don't see much from the other characters. Like, I kind of wish we could have saw some more development of a few, like, mostly just the rest of the cast members. Like, maybe some more about their characters, because the only ones we really see most of are Jason and Scarlett's characters. And they do have interesting interaction and good chemistry with one another, but I could have wished we saw a bit more of everybody else. And I also feel like Tom Hanks' character didn't really get much screen time. And I feel like his character deserved better than just a few scenes, despite getting some of the funniest moments of the film. And the ending does feel anticlimactic, once again. Because, well, the events in Asteroid City often do become national news, and then a furious General Gibson moves to end this quarantine that the aliens visit as caused on the whole Asteroid City area. But just as he begins to declare it all concluded, the UFO again visits the crater, and the alien returns to the meteorite fragment, and its quarantine gets reinstated, and everybody there just revolts against the military, and using all their inventions to overpower them. And the story of the play's creation is interspersed between the play itself. It begins like when actor Jones Hall meets Conrad Earp and gives him the idea for Augie's character. Earp quickly writes the rest of the play that we see throughout the movie with some help from this acting school for which he's associated, and he recruits most of its cast from the school, including Mercedes Ford, a temporarily brilliant actress to play Midge, and womanizing director Stuart Green is then hired to stage the production with help from acting teacher Salisbury Keidel, and Green's wife leaves him during rehearsals. The Mercedes almost quits the production with after Green berates her. She returns after the understudy for Woodrow's role, which brings her a culinary letter from Green, and her studying Andy ends up assuming Woodrow's role himself. Then on that, yeah, these are all the play cutaways I'm mentioning. Right here. And on the play's opening night, Jones goes backstage during a revolt scene, and frustrated because he doesn't really understand the tone of Augie's motivations for his actions. Then he confronts Schubert about this, and Schubert tells Jones that he should continue playing Augie, even though he doesn't understand Augie's motivations. But it does aggravate Jones, and when on the fire escape outside the theater, Jones does encounter the actress to play Augie's wife, who joined a different play after her only one scene got apparently cut out. But she ends up reciting the text of the cutscene to him, and towards the end of the show's successful run, the cast is saddened by Conrad Earp's death in a car crash. And yeah, and then of course, after the whole play cutaway is the final play cutaway, we cut back to Asteroid City, and it turns out Augie had overslept, and everybody just left and checked out the minute the quarantine ended. And Augie and his family are the last ones that end up leaving the whole city. And Woodrow even receives the fellowship money, and Midge leaves Augie her mailing address, so it maybe could be hinted that Augie and Midge will likely meet up again, and will likely become an actual couple the minute that both of them get back home. And then the movie ends with Augie and his family driving away. So yeah. To be honest, I just felt this ending wasn't very strong, and I felt the ending could have been written and done better, but oh well. Because it's not going to ruin the movie for me, because in the end, Asteroid City is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but if you are a fan of Wes Anderson, you'll probably enjoy this movie or get some decent kick out of it. So I would either recommend watching it or recommend buying it if you end up really loving it, or giving it one watch. Anyway, that's it for my review of Asteroid City. Wondering how I'm going to rate Asteroid City, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you love Wes Anderson and are willing to check out what he does next, then I do recommend watching and buying this for your Wes Anderson collection for sure. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Asteroid City, I'm going to give Asteroid City an 8 out of 10. There we go. That pretty much wraps up my review for Asteroid City. So, our next review is going to be for a war film. And it's one that was done by Stanley Kubrick and has inspired quite a few memes. And stars legendary former actor R. Lee Ermey. Yeah, guys, you're all thinking Full Metal Jacket. That's going to be next. And so that's going to be my third Stanley Kubrick review. But until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.